Hey, welcome to Mind and Movement, getting smart about how you move. I'm Hazel. Thanks for joining me. I'm just going to take you through 10 minutes of stretching for your immune system. So 10 minutes of opening up the parts of our body where we have a lot of lymph nodes. So in the groin, in the armpits, we've got a lot of lymph nodes. Around the neck, we've got lymph nodes as well, and into the chest here. So I do these exercises a lot. I tend to do 15 minutes of stretching every day and include most of these ones that we're going to do. The first thing you should do though is get yourself a cup of coffee so you can drink. Awesome. And the first exercise we're going to do, the first movement, is called a V-sit. So I'm going to bolster myself up because I've got tight hamstrings and my hamstrings have gotten a lot longer over the last couple of years. Used to have to bolster myself up on 2 blocks of these wood, but what you're going to do is sit with your legs as wide as feels comfortable. I've got my pelvis up higher so that I can be in a neutral position, which basically just means that my bony bits at the front of my hips here, my ASIs and my pubic symphysis there, are on the same vertical plane, so I don't want to be tucked back, or I might actually want to get a little bit further forward here so I can open up through here. And you can just rub through the groin. You might feel some lymph nodes, little lumps through here. Yeah, just assisting that lymph flow back. Cool. Okay, after I've done that one for a while, I like to come forward on my knees and just come from side to side. So I'm a restorative exercise specialist trained by Katie Bowman from Nutritious Movement. So a lot of the movements I do are from her toolkit, and I also love Kelly's stretch stuff from thereadystate.com. And the next stretch we're going to do is one of his ones. It is called the couch stretch. It's awesome. So you're going to get, it's called the couch stretch because you normally do it on a couch. I'm doing it on a wall because I don't have a couch here in my studio. And this is kind of level 1. So I'm going to bring this knee forward. I'm getting some extension at this hip here. So to start with, I just want to kind of take this hip down towards the ground, but without thrusting my rib cage, which means this. So you can see there that a lot of movement happened, but it happened in my lumbar spine, and that's not where I want the movement. I want the movement to be happening here. So this is level 1. If you're cool with this one, you can come up onto your foot here and stay in a forward position. And I'm going to chop off my head, but if that's you're loving that one, you can come up into this position. And for me, this just really gets a nice stretch into the top of my rectus femoris. Yeah, I love this one. Okay, so let's go through that on the other side. Into the pocket there. And then you're just playing around a little bit with feeling into where you feel a stretch. And then, if you want, coming up into this position. If you're a runner, Kelly's got a great book on running. I loved reading his book on running. And Jada Sherry, he's got an awesome book, Running Rewired. It's a really good one if you're a runner. This again, now we're just going to put our legs out in front of us, and we're just going to do a few of these ones. Just open up the hips a little bit. We're going to come back into a V-sit. So yeah, we really want to open up the groin. There's heaps of lymph nodes in the groin, heaps of lymph nodes in the armpits. Lymph, of course, is white blood cells and plasma that's come out of our blood through the capillaries into our tissue and is then making its way back up into the chest to go back into the cardiovascular system. And while it's doing that, it's looking for foreign bodies in our body, and it's going to deal with them. And we need to keep the lymph moving so that the white blood cells and whatnot can do their job. So that's why we want to keep these areas really open. Katie has a blog post called the Egg Test, which is about lymph drainage through the armpit. So go and check that one out on nutritiousmovement.com. Okay, next we're going to do a little bit of thoracic extension. So we're going to keep our rib cage in a neutral position. So most people, when they do this exercise here, they're like, yeah, I know this one. But then what they do is they do this. So see how I'm just thrusting through here and getting all this movement in my lumbar spine. So I'm going to bring my rib cage down. Now it is on the floor, and it is not going to move off the floor as I get a little bit of thoracic extension, right? So you can see how I'm using my abs to keep my rib cage here down, so my rib cage is not coming up here at all, right? That's not what you want. You want it to stay down. And you can roll around from side to side a little bit here. Katie Bowman actually at the moment has, for her virtual movement studio, she has taken like $21 off. So you can normally jump in and get it for $30 a month. For the next 3 months, she's knocked it down to $9. So you can go to nutritiousmovement.com. Highly recommend getting into some of her classes. They are excellent, the best movement classes I have ever had the privilege of doing. So here's a little bit of thoracic extension. Then we're going to come and do some work in the armpit. So this is called a windmill. I'm lying on my side. My knee is touching the ground here, and it's going to stay on the ground. My rib cage and pelvis are in a neutral position. I'm not thrusting my ribs here. They are back and down. I'm going to reach my arm up, and then I'm going to keep that bend in my elbow. I'm going to externally rotate, so my humerus bone is going that way, and I'm just going to hang out here and just play around and just feel where it's tight. So you want to make sure you're not doing this. You want to have that shoulder down, and then you're externally rotating that humerus. Awesome. And come and sit from the start again, reaching through the elbow, up towards the ceiling, externally rotating and dropping back. And then you're going to do that one on the other side, of course. I'm not going to, just for time's sake, so that I can show you a couple more exercises and keep this under 10 minutes. The next one we're going to do is a bit of spinal rotation. So again, I'm going to bolster myself up so I'm a little bit, can keep it in neutral position, my pelvis, and then cross my arms over my chest, and I'm just going to rotate one way as far as I can. And then breathe. So breathing is the other really important thing for lymph flow, especially through the chest. We can be breathing all day long here. And the other one I just wanted to do here was, you're going to take one arm out to the side. So my palm is facing up, but then I'm rotating my humerus into an externally rotated position. Then I'm going to reach this arm away from my body and drop my head down. So I'm keeping my chin in. I'm not in this position. And yeah, it's a nice stretch for me in the deltoid. You might feel it in through your neck here, but it's that taking that arm into external rotation and reaching it out, and on this side as well. Of course, none of these movements should hurt if they do get help with doing them from a professional, because you're probably doing something wrong, or you might already have an injury there, but always get help if something's sore or sticky. Or give me an email, send me an email. We can do a Skype session or a Zoom session. I'm not going to be seeing a lot of clients probably over the next wee while because they come here to my studio, and it doesn't look like that's going to be happening, so I will be doing Skype sessions. Hazel, email me, hazel@mindandmovement.co.nz. They're going to be really cheap. They're going to be just $50 plus GST for an hour session, and we can do all kinds of stuff. We can continue your program that we've been working on together, or we can develop another one to get you into the best healthy condition you've ever been in, which is what we need to do in times like this. I really hope you enjoyed that. I hope you got to finish your cup of coffee, and I'll make you another movement video soon. Cheers.